Thank you all for coming, and we just want to have a quick conversation around the plan, just to talk through some of the background, some things you may have not known. And first, I want to give congratulatory, just our excitement around the plan and how the plan really is intentional in its efforts to make sure it's the blueprint. It's how we utilize this document to continue to do this work. But I want folks to understand that the plan is also a living document, so it'll be adaptable, it'll be changing depending on what's necessary to support your ecosystem. And so I want to ask Latisha a couple of questions, and before you do that, please introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are. They already know, but just tell them again, and tell them a little bit about your overall, like, the process you went through for plan development, for plan, and even, just even some of the work or even the opportunity for CU to help you through this process. What was some of that like? That's what I'll go to first.
Okay, so first of all, thank y'all so much for showing up today. It means so much to look around the room and see so many folks that are committed to change, committed to seeing something different, and committed to showing up together. So I just want to say thank you for that. For those of you that don't know me, I'm looking around thinking like people that I maybe haven't met formally yet. I'm Latisha McNeil. I'm the director for the Community Safety Department. And when we're talking about this plan, it was something that has been in the making for a long time. 2022, I think I went to my first Cities United convening, and I went by myself. I was like, they do this roll call. And they said, Greensboro. I just stood up and just screamed by myself. I didn't care. I was just like, look, I'm here from Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm showing up. They had a meeting for something called the Roadmap Academy. I was like, I'm going. I was not supposed to be in the space, but I just walked in there and I told Latoya, I was like, look, Greensboro, North Carolina is going to be in the building. We're going to be here. We're going to do this work. We're committed. What do I need to do? Sign us up. And we were able to get support from the city manager's office and our city council leadership and mayor at the time, Mayor Vaughn, and they were like, okay, well, go ahead. So I was like, all right, let me figure this thing out. So I just started stalking. That's probably not the best word. But really, I just started looking around the country, started looking, seeing, what people were doing, what was working, where the questions were, but really thinking about it from Greensboro. Like, how do we make this work here? How do we ensure that we don't just get something that's, a cookie cutter type thing just because it works somewhere else? Yeah. We're going to try to do it here, and, this is the South. We're from the South, and a lot of times in this work you have people that come from larger cities, normally in the North or the West, and, they come to the South and they have good information. We appreciate it, and they try to kind of say, this works. It may work there, but Greensboro is a whole different place. And so it was important to me that we looked at Greensboro in its totality, not just the usual ways that we look at Greensboro. We look at how crime affects Greensboro, whether it be a certain demographic, a certain area, whatever. So we were very intentional about talking to people throughout Greensboro. If I didn't talk to everybody in this room, somebody on my team talked to you. You probably didn't even realize you were being interviewed because we were just asking questions. We just want to know, what does it mean to be safe? That's it. And we wanted to start there. We wanted to make sure that throughout the plan, that was our big thing. What does safety look like for the people in Greensboro, North Carolina?
Tell them about how important it is and was to get community voice embedded into the plan process.
It was extremely important to have community voice. It took us from 2023 to 2025 to produce the plan. And the reason why it took that long is because we wanted to make sure that we had voices from our community in the plan. We could have written a plan probably in a month. I mean, you give me a good weekend, I probably could have had a whole plan written out. But it would have just been Latisha's voice. Yeah. And I know I've heard Latisha's plan. This ain't Latisha's plan. Nope. Okay? Nope. This is the people. This is Greensboro. This is our plan. And it was important to me to make sure that happened. So that meant having conversations with various groups of people. People who look like me, people who didn't look like me, people, different age demographics, all types of individuals. And in my opinion, there are some places that I know for a fact that we can elaborate and expand on. And as we implement this plan, it's going to be some places where there are voices that are not included in this plan that we want to make sure that as we implement it, we bring them to the table. So.
Thank you. Can you also share how young leaders played a role in the plan and why young leader engagement is valuable?
Yeah, absolutely. So our young leaders play a huge role in this plan. Jeremiah Jett, stand up for me. So I just want to introduce you all to the Youth Engagement Director for the City of Greensboro, Jeremiah Jett. Yes. I'm going to tell some of your business just for a second. So I met Jeremiah. He wasn't of legal working age yet, quite. But he was interested in helping to shape what this looked like in our city. So took him on a trip, took him to Seattle, took his mama too, because you can't take a minor somewhere without taking their mama. But he was intentional about making sure that he stayed plugged in. So when we were talking about a youth engagement director, I said, I want to make sure that not only do we have youth at the table for the planning process, we have youth at the table for all aspects of this work. Yeah. And not just ceremoniously, oh, come on, young person, we want to just see your face, but we really don't care about what you're saying. No, I want to be able to say, Jeremiah is the director. Just like I'm the director for community safety, he's the youth engagement director. And I've told him, if you need to check me as the director and say, well, that's not what young people are saying, that's not what my people are saying, I need to hear it because I don't know. And so we were really intentional about making sure that we hired a young person. We put the job posting out. It was so funny. Put the job posting out for a youth engagement director. And I had to convince the city that I really meant a youth engagement, that I meant a young person. Like I didn't mean somebody that graduated from high school the same year I did. Okay, I'm young at heart. Okay?
Me too.
But I can't consider myself a youth. So really being intentional about that, making sure that we have a young person that's on our staff, but also have a young person that has the ability to build a team of young people so that we can continue to hear the voices of young people throughout the city. Because I also know that every young person may not look, think, feel, act like Jeremiah. Yeah. But it's his responsibility to gather those diverse voices of young people, because even in youth, there's diversity. So just making sure that we were intentional about that as we build this thing forward.
Thank you. And thank you, Jeremiah. Yes. So one of the core values at Cities United is youth voice. So we make sure, even part of her being a part of the roadmap, is you have to have a team. It's not just you from the city. You have to have a young person and a community partner embedded into the process, because we want to just make sure everyone understands that this is really a community led plan, not just the plan from the Office of Community Safety or the Department of Community Safety as well. And so I want you to share or like talk a little bit about like where, now that the plan has been released, like what's next for the plan? What challenges are you facing? And I want you to really think about the question in a way of, like what's needed and what's necessary. What supports could like elected play a role in? What supports could other community folks that you feel like need to be at the table that haven't been maybe so supported or at the table? So think about it from that perspective of the people that are here today, how we can really give them a picture of like what's next and what we need and the challenges that have, kind of facing what's ahead for this plan.
So the things that are next, first of all, we're implementing the plan. We're actively in that process now. We've started with our ecosystem meetings. How many of you have heard of GSOCAN, the Collaborative Action Network? So one of the ways that we are putting our plan into action is through our Collaborative Action Network. It's an opportunity, we call it a table. It's a table for our community to come and to bring concerns, but also to bring solutions. Because we feel like that people who are at the table are responsible for the problems, but also responsible for the solutions and responsible for holding each other accountable to ensure that the things that we need are readily available to us. So we're saying who else needs to be at the table? Who can we bring to the table? So that's one of the ways that we are putting the plan into action. In terms of what we need, I think for me is to keep uplifting the plan. Because we know that oftentimes things happen in communities and the attention goes to something else. Mm-hmm. When we start doing something well and we start doing something right, it becomes embedded in the process, and we forget that it took work for us to get here. And so then we will start saying, oh, well, that thing that we did so well, we don't have to do that anymore. We could do something else. Or this new problem has come about. So let's make that the emphasis or focus of our work. And I think that one of the biggest things that I need is for folks to hold us accountable to the plan and to remind us that the work still has to be done. The work needs to be done when times are good and we flying high, and the work needs to be done when times are bad and we're down low. Mm-hmm. So just make sure that you all are ambassadors of this work and this plan. And wherever you see yourself, because every role ain't for everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody won't have the same role and responsibility, and that's good. Yeah. So make sure that if it's your job to bring the napkins to the cookout, that you continue to bring the napkins to the cookout. If it's your job to bring the chicken, make sure you bring the chicken, because that one time you don't bring it, that's going to be when we really wanted chicken at that cookout. So just making sure that whatever the thing is, whatever your role is, you're showing up and you're bringing that thing.
Thank you. Any last comments you want to share? Any last highlights you want to mention before we just open it up for a couple questions, if anybody have any about the plan?
Read it, please. And this couple of days I've been really thinking about how we rolled it out and what are some ways that we could ensure that people are able to really become connected with this plan. And it's funny because when we were in development, I said I wanted to be like Beyonce, right? Beyonce dropped the album, and then you got the visuals, right? Okay, I still want that. Mm-hmm. I did. I want to be like, I said, we're going to be like Beyonce. We're going to drop the album, we're going to drop the visuals, we're going to go. Yeah. Okay, so we got the album. I need help with the visuals. I need somebody to come up with a song. I need, there are lots of spaces where I want to make sure that everyone can understand this work and everyone can understand how they can play a part in keeping Greensboro safe.
Thank you. Jeremiah, you want to say anything about a little bit about the work you've been doing real quick? Come on up here.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeremiah. I'm just gonna mention she really does want a song. So like, you are any artist, speaker, rapper, whatever.
Please.
Like, she was so into making a song. She really, really wants a song.
She does. She does. Thank you.
I'm not gonna say much. I probably want to talk about it later.
Yeah.
But along with our community safety plan, I was tasked in developing a youth safety plan. So it's a little spin-off. It's not like something completely different from the plan, but it's something more youth focused. So how can young people of Greensboro be able to participate and be able to achieve our goals for our community safety plan? Young people, I don't want this to be the end. I told you guys yesterday in our workshop, I want this to be the beginning. Find friends, find people who are also interested in the work, and I said, let's get it done. I have the resources. I work for the city. Ms. Latisha told me, as long as I can get it approved, we can get it done. So let's do it. Let's use my role to its advantage, and let's change our city for the better.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you again, Jeremiah. And thank you, Latisha, for this plan, the intentionality, and just your hard work and the diligence behind the office and your role in general. Because I've been working with Latisha now for 3 years, so I know it's not easy, and it's definitely not easy to put out a plan. I've been working with cities across the country, some for longer than others, and still trying to get them to get their plan together, get their stuff together, and let's do it. But it's a process. And so, sometimes even with just turnover in leadership and different things that just happen, it's just a process and it takes time. So, salute to you guys in the city of Greensboro for the effort and the work that you guys are doing. We applaud you at Cities United. We are here because we do highlight you as leading the way in the work that you're doing. And so before we break for you guys to get food, we do have food. And then we'll go into the next portion. Does anybody we'll take a couple questions if there are some. A comment? Anything? Anyone? No.
I just got one.
Okay.
How hard was it to push this plan to your elected officials? Did you have the full buy-in from your elected officials when you put this plan together?
So it was a challenge to be consistent with it, because what happens is a lot of times issues will come up and they will want those issues to take precedent. Not saying that those issues aren't important issues, but we got to stick to the plan. If the goal is to develop this plan, then somebody got to be focused on developing the plan.
Yep.
And so there was a lot of times where I would have to remind people that we are in plan development, and we have asked people things, and we didn't ask them just for the sake of asking. We asked because we wanted to be intentional about peace on purpose in our city. And so I had to really push that. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes it was hard. And it was kind of lonely because it would be like, why are you still talking about that? But it's like, because it's important. Right. So, thank you.
Anything else? All right. Thank you again, Latisha. We're going to talk more and go dive into just a activity with folks in the room. So we want you to grab food, and then we want you to come back to the tables and kind of sit with other folks that may not work with you, just kind of want to mix the room up, because we do want to have some dialogue about how you see yourself in the plan and opportunities for us to continue to work and build on this plan. And even Peace on Purpose, like I love the name when it first, like the intentionality, just overall, Peace on Purpose. Just think about that. Go ahead.
Hold on, I just want to say something about the name. So every day when I drop my son off, I say have a good day on purpose. Because I just feel like, you know, there's so many things that you can't control, but you, for the most part, you can control yourself.
Yeah.
And so when we were trying to figure out what do we call this, what is this thing, and we were like, what is the thing that we want? We want peace on purpose. And as Greensboro, we can control peace on purpose if we, you know, come together and do the things that we need to do. So that was really where the name came from, is being intentional and being on purpose. Like, we mean what we say. So.
Yeah. Thank you.